Are you kidding me? You're gonna get kicked out of here. Okay. Sorry, she is being just a menace. Stop eating the plant. You're going to have to be kicked out. Can you just chill? Just chill. Yeah. Oh! Embarrassing. Okay, bye. No. Moose. Hi friends, my name is Mackenzie, also known as Emtothethird, and this is episode 33 of the Emtothethird Knitting Podcast. Excuse you, Moose? Really? Moose? What do you want, babe? Okay. Hi. Okay. Hi friends, my name is Mackenzie. This is Moose, and I'm also known as Emtothethird, and this is episode 33 of the Emtothethird Knitting Podcast. I also have a small business where I naturally dye yarn and do illustrations, and part of today's video is going to be showcasing some of the yarns that I'm going to have on my update this coming Sunday. Really, dude? I don't know what Moose's issue is right now. I'll put little timestamps in the description of the video, so if you're not interested in that part, feel free to skip ahead. But other than that, I'll be talking about different knitting projects, a knit-along that is getting started up, and just other general life things and happenings that are going on. So really happy to have you here, and yeah, excited to be back in 2022 talking about all my knitting. This is not the first video that I've made in 2022. I always do a little year retrospective at the beginning of the new year. So if you haven't checked that out yet, where I just go through all of the things that I knit in 2021, you can hit that little link right there and go check that out. Thanks to everyone who's watched that video and commented on it. It's one of my favorite videos to do, and I know that you all like it a lot as well, so yeah. Since the beginning of the new year, I decided to make a little TikTok with an idea I had, and it turns out it resonated with a lot of you, and now we are having a little knit along. If you've watched previous episodes of the podcast, you know that I, in the last year, lost a lot of socks that have been with me for many years. And what I mean by that is that I have knit, like, socks are one of my favorite things to knit. Just, they're small, they're portable. I think a lot of other people feel the same way, although I know a lot of you also despise knitting socks, which is also valid. But if you're like me, like, I just love having hand knit socks. I love gifting them, and there have been 2 times in the past where I have done 12 pairs of socks over the course of a year. And I really enjoy doing that. Some of them, like I said, end up being gifts. Some of them are for me, some of them are for Kay. And yeah, it's just one of my favorite things to take to a knit night and, you know, just generally be working on. So because I lost a bunch of socks, all of which had been mended by me and continued to be worn and then wore out again, and also did not have any nylon content in them, I decided that I wanted to spend the year both working on some wardrobe staples, as well as sort of replenishing mine and Kay's sock drawers. So that is really where the sort of spark of the idea came, but I thought, like, how can I make this more fun for myself? How can I make it more engaging? And so I came up with this idea, because I have a bunch of sock yarn in my stash, to wrap them up, because in the past I've had so much fun doing like Advent, you know, yarn things. I thought it would be fun to wrap up the skeins. Initially I thought I would have K sort of like assign a month to each skein. So I knew that I had a ton of skeins in my stash already, and my initial thought was to take them all out and have K wrap them and then assign them different months, just randomly. But I was a little too impatient to wait for them to do that. So I just ended up going ahead and wrapping them all in the same paper so that I can't tell which skein I'm going to grab. And so my plan is for each month to pick out a skein and unwrap it and be like, ooh, so pretty. And then knit it into a pair of socks. So I posted this idea on TikTok and, you know, generally shared why I wanted to do it in like a little quick video, and a bunch of people were like, oh my god, I love this idea, can we do a sock along? Well, a knit along, but I am now calling it a sock along, and thus the Emtothethird sock stash along was born. And yeah, so we're doing that this year, and I am already like super enjoying just seeing everyone's progress, seeing everyone's introductions. If it's something that you are interested in, I will post a link to my Instagram post down below so you can go take a look at the rules and see if it's something that interests you. If you're listening to this and going, yeah, no, I am not knitting 12 pairs of socks this year, that's okay. I wanted the rules to be sort of general and not like, you know, 12 pairs is a lot, and I acknowledge that, and not everybody just wants to be knitting socks, and etc, etc. So any way that you want to participate, whether it's like 6 pairs where you knit 1 sock a month, or even 4 pairs, like anything that you want to do to sort of bulk up your sock drawer, you are welcome to participate in it. And every month there's going to be a drawing. So after I finish recording this, I'm actually going to be doing the drawing for January. So if you post a reel with the hashtag, then you get 2 entries for the month. And if you post just like a normal post and you use the hashtag, then you'll get entered. Your profile does have to be public, because otherwise I will not see it. But if you have a private account and still want to participate and you send me a screenshot of your post via Instagram, then I will be happy to enter you into the drawing. So that's kind of the gist of the sock along. I'll keep you updated on my progress as I do my like monthly podcast episode. But yeah, I'm so excited that so many people were also excited about the idea and, you know, all willing to sort of dive into their stash and pull out some things that they've been maybe wanting to work with but haven't made the time to. So yeah, so that sort of brings me to my first little bit of knitting, which are of course some socks. So while I haven't pulled from my little stash yet, which I also wanted to take some time to show you. So this is my little bundle of packages. It's hanging out on my shelf in my room, and I think they look very charming in those little craft paper little bundles. So yeah, that's all of my skeins. And even though I'm knitting 12 pairs and I have 12 wrapped, that doesn't necessarily mean that I will knit all of them, and that's okay. We're just doing what we can do. Okay, so let me show you the pairs of socks that I've already knit this year. These ones will look familiar to you if you have watched the podcast before. This is a mini set from Mad Fuzzy. So I have just talked about how much I love this yarn many times. It is a blend of East Frisian wool and Firestar nylon. If you're not familiar with Firestar nylon, it takes up dye. So when it's blended with the yarn, it almost looks like little sparkles that also takes on the dye. So in this one, because she used this like teal color, it picked up that teal color and makes it look really sparkly and nice. So this was a set of 3 50-gram little gradient sets. So the natural sheep color is like a white, a gray, and then like a darker gray, and then she dyes over it. And I'm just like so enchanted by the yarn and the dyeing. So yeah, I've really loved these. And I knit the first sock of this like last year before the move. And so my first pair for the year was this, just the 1 second sock. But I knew that I had enough to do 2 pairs, and so I am now working on the second pair. And I just finished the first sock, which is this. So I had the most out of this light blue, and so I thought if I alternated the striping of the darker colors, then that would work really well. I'm doing a heel flap. I have been known to do some fish lips heels in the past, but the reality is, especially as I wear them for a longer amount of time, they don't fit my foot very well. So I'm going back to the OG, you know, heel flap and turn, and that works really well for my foot. So that's what's going on there. This was really a way to mostly make use of this light teal color, and looking at the yarn that I have left after finishing this one, I was really worried that I wasn't going to have enough, but I went ahead and weighed the remaining yarn, and while I'm not totally convinced that I will get the patterning all the way to the toe, I should have enough yarn given the weight of this sock and the weight of the remaining yarn. So I'll update you on that, but I'm feeling pretty good that it's like February and I'm already to here on the second sock. So yeah, that's the first couple of socks for the year. And this pair is going to be for Kay. It just fits their foot a little bit better. So I tried it on me and I was like, I tried it on Kay, fit perfectly. So I made it a little bit shorter because they just have like a slightly smaller and more narrow foot than I do. So yeah, and then when I switched the colors here, I just did a knit slip for the first row of the color change. And there's 8 rows of each stripe. Oh, and I did the partridge heel, which I've never done before, but I knew that it was basically just slightly different than other heels that I've done. So yeah, I just thought I'd do that. And then garter stitch on the edges. So that's that. It's a very fun color, right? So, all right, so socks. That's pretty much it. And then I will, if you are not following me already on Instagram, do that, because you'll be the first to see when I open my little package for March. And we'll see what that looks like. Okay, so I figure let's start with accessories, and let me show you another finished object that I have, and then I'll move into talking about some sweaters. So, I knit this cutie hat out of the new base from Manos del Uruguay. So they have this beautiful Corriedale that's like an Aran weight. And this is a pattern that's like that goes for that collection. I think it's pretty cute. And this is a sample for the store that I currently work at. So yeah, that was a pretty quick knit. It was fun. I love the colors. And these are actually the colors that the pattern calls for. So yeah, I'll make sure to link that all below in case you love this hat as much as I do. I did just add, because I wanted the brim to fold over, so I did add a little row of purl just to like make sure that it was folding at that point and it'll stay there. Also, before I blocked this hat, it looked ridiculous, so blocking did a lot for this particular pattern. Okay, so then for Christmas, I got some yarn from one of my favorite dyers, which is Urso Yarn Company, and they did special holiday colors, and yeah, I just thought they were super beautiful. So I got several skeins from them, one of which are these two. It was like a little mini set. You've got some really pretty colors there, neutrals with just kind of like a splash of speckles. And so when I had them, they're a single strand, so I didn't want to do socks, but it's so woolly that I thought that it would be really good for some colorwork mittens. And so I sort of scoured, and these have been in my queue for a super long time. And over Vlogmas, the gentle knitter Nicole knit a pair, or had like started a pair of the Shine mittens by Sophia Camaborn, and so that is what I decided to make. I'm super, like, it was a very fun knit. I think they look really like stunning, and I really like the little speckles in it. It's definitely not like the traditional way to do it, but I am not a traditional lady. And yeah, I just, you know, you've got this Latvian braid here with this like little flower pattern. Oh, come on, let's do it. Ugh. Okay, you got that Latvian braid, the little flower, more Latvian braid, and then this like amazing color work. So yeah, I've got one of these done. It was really kind of like a Christmas, like post-Christmas cast on with new goodies. And while it is definitely not as cold here in Portland as it is in Boston, it is different in that it's such a wet cold that in Boston, even when it was like in the 20s, I never really felt like I needed to be wearing gloves, like, or mittens. Like, my hands just don't totally get cold. But here, just, it's so wet that I find myself always putting on a hat and a mitten before I walk the dog in the evening. So I thought those would be like a fun accessory to have, so that I can kind of change up my mitten game a little bit. And yeah, I really enjoyed knitting that one, and I will work on the second one. So I was sort of feeling overwhelmed because I had signed on to do this test knit. I had finished one of these mittens, I had finished one of these socks, and I was sort of feeling that like I want to cast something on itch. For myself, I was a little disillusioned with a couple other projects I'm working on, which I'll talk about in a second. And so I sat down and was like, okay, let me take stock of everything I need to do and sort of like focus myself and not be overwhelmed by all of the projects that I have. So wanted to kind of show you that. So I've done this in the past where I make notes in my journal and sort of share that with you. But last year I really didn't use my journal hardly at all. I talked about this a little bit during Vlogmas and whatnot. So now that I'm working at home, a big part of my routine every morning is to sit at my desk, go through email, and take some time to journal and just like schedule out my day. And sometimes I'll even make to-do lists from the previous day, which might seem kind of funny, but it's just like a moment of like introspection about what I've accomplished over the last few days, because sometimes it can be hard remembering that I am actually making progress. So the other day I took time to just make a list of all of the things that I wanted to do and all of the things that I am working on so that I could get some stuff done. So this is sort of what that little spread looks like. Just what I'm working on, some reflections about it, and you know, figuring out where to focus my attentions. And so you'll have seen a little spoiler in here for my next FO, which is a late finish on my grandma's Christmas present, which is a little ripple crop like I'm wearing. So this is what my grandma wanted for Christmas, and she picked out the color, and so it's the ripple crop top, but it's in a DK weight instead of a fingering weight, which is what mine is out of. So it's super cute. I think she's really gonna like it. I did make it a little bit longer than the pattern recommended. Yeah, and I'm very excited for her to try it on. But I think it turned out super good, and what's kind of wild is that, so I used Hedgehog DK for this. The pattern, which is a Jessie May pattern, says that you can use either worsted or DK. So I cast on for the medium using the recommended needle size with the yarn, and I could just tell it was really small, even though like it gets so bunched up on the needles. I was like, there's just no way, this is ridiculously small. So I went up a size, and so I knit the large and I went up a needle size, and I think it turned out really good. It's like very drapey and airy, even though it's like that DK weight. It's a super wash. I don't think it'll be very warm, which is good because she lives in Southern California. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I hope that she really likes it. And I think because of those modifications that I made, I used a lot less yarn than the pattern called for. So I should have been about halfway through a third skein, but I finished it up in 2, and I left this little tail because seriously, this was the amount of yarn I had left. Just this little bit. So, of 2 skeins. So I feel pretty good about that. I was blocking it last night, and it's still a little damp, so I need to go lay it out again after I finish recording. But again, I think it's very darling, and if you are like my friends at Knit Night, then you will probably want a picture of her rocking it. And I told her, when I talked to her last night, I was like, yeah, you're gonna have to send me a picture of you wearing it. And she's like, well, I might send 4 or 5, so so I'll definitely update you on that one. So I'm super happy that like a couple of those like lingering works in progress are checked off of my list, and you know, I'm making headway on other ones, so hopefully soon I can start something new. As a lot of you who have been watching me for a while know, I try to be really intentional about the garments that I decide to make, that they fit in with my wardrobe, that they fit the way that I like them to, etc., etc. So, this has been sort of a long-standing whip. I started this well before my Christmas present knitting commenced, and I wanted to give you an update. So this is a pattern that I am working on out of this Corriedale confetti yarn from La Bien Aimée that has little bits and bobs of scrap yarn in it, which I love. And it's going to have a split hem, and it has a rounded yoke in addition to some raglan shaping, and I just tried it on. I tried it on a couple of days ago, maybe like 10 days ago, and I was sort of feeling a little disillusioned, and I was like, maybe I made it too small, maybe I need to incorporate some A-line shaping, and I was trying to figure that out, but so basically I might be taking it back to the underarm, but not yet, because I actually do want to figure out the shaping on the hem before I do, before I rip out. And sort of just, anyway, just working through it. But these kinds of projects, which I know will be worth it, take a lot of time because I'm not following a pattern. I'm just kind of figuring it out as I go. So, yeah, I'm working on that. Very slow going, but like, I know it's going to fit into my wardrobe really well. I know I'm going to wear it a lot. I just am obsessed with the color. So, yeah, I'll keep you updated on that, and hopefully I'll have more of an update on it next time. Because, yeah, I want to finish something. And I have two sweaters. The other one is the damn Stockbridge cardigan that I am like working on, but like I sort of have problems that I need to work through with them, and I'm not sure how to do that. So, you know, they're lingering, and that's okay, but it also doesn't mean it's not pissing me off. So, yeah. Socks are just easier, you know. They are. All right, so I think that's pretty much it for the knitting that I have. I'm going to end with a little shop update preview. I want to talk a little bit about the new base that I am introducing, as well as some colors that I've been experimenting with. So if you would like to hang out and watch that, please do. But if you're not feeling like you need to add to your stash right now or what have you, I'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, so I'm gonna go find the video where I talked about this yarn base that I'm introducing on Sunday's shop update, which is going to be called Emtothethird Sock, and that I have waxed poetic about in the past. But finally have my dye studio set up enough to be able to work on it. So I've spent the last quite a while building up a little cache of these beautiful yarns, so let me go through it. So the yarn is a blend of Corriedale and BFL, and that is mixed with a little bit of nylon. And the BFL and Corriedale have a little bit of darker color in it. So like natural browns and blacks from the sheep. So it's a little bit heathered, which I am just totally obsessed with. And let me show you some of the colors we have here. So this combo is just my absolute favorite. I want to cast on a sweater in this striped so bad. I digress. This is a staple in the Emtothethird line, which is called Jugo, like juice, and it is just this great mauve, purpley, red, pink yarn. And then I've been trying to get an orange that's sort of more on the red-brown side for a while, and this recipe seems to have really satisfied that for me. So this is a new color that I'm going to be calling Mesa. So I'm really happy with that one. And one of the things that I really wanted to do with this yarn was to introduce not just tonals and solid colors, but to also do some experimenting with you know, variegation, speckling on yarn that is non-superwash with natural dyes, which has been a really fun experiment. I think that I'm just learning a lot right now, and I'm very happy with how these turned out. And like, it basically just like planted this little seed that is like germinating and about to break through the soil, and just then it's gonna take off. So these are sort of my first experiments with this, using different techniques. I'm thrilled with them, and like, definitely if you like them, stay tuned for more, because there's going to be a lot more of this kind of stuff. So I've got these, this little collection of like variegated yarns. Oh, so exciting. So these are obviously a little bit more like less contrasting. This on the left is done with onion skins and madder, and then this is madder and cochineal. Oh, focus, focus, focus. There we go. And then these higher contrast ones, this is cochineal, weld, and madder. Oh, come on. Nope, not gonna focus. So mad. There we go. And then this is logwood and Saxon blue. All right. Then we've got some more just solids. These are all like the cool ones, like cool colors, which are gorgeous. This one has a little bit of variation on it. But yeah. So that is, there's a couple more colors that are still drying, but that is the bulk of what's going to be in the shop update. Most of them, there's about 4 skeins for each color, but some of them are like exclusive one-of-a-kind skeins that I, you know, was using for test runs. So I am so thrilled about releasing this base. I can't wait to cast on some more socks in it, and yeah, I'm just absolutely like thrilled with how everything has come out. And then I know a bunch of you have been waiting for an update of Mezcla, which is my marled sock base, and I've got a few colors for you in that. I just was trying to be as intentional as possible. So these are the colors that are going to be available in Mezcla. So pretty, right? So this is Masa. This is the one everyone loves. It's a beautiful like yellow. Then we've got this blue, which it's a little bit different than Pacific, which is on the website right now. And then we've got like my favorites. This is Mesa dyed on the marled base, so it really turns out more brown, but there's a lot of like orange and red in there. And then, of course, the rosas, which I love. So yeah, I'm pretty thrilled. I really hope you are too, because I have, like, having a designated dye studio, even though the setup is not perfect, has been really like so like fun, and just like sort of reinvigorated my like passion for dyeing with natural dyes. And I know a few episodes ago I was like, maybe I don't want a natural dye at all. because I was feeling pretty discouraged, and yeah, that like spark is back and I'm just having a blast. I mentioned this in the 2021 knitting video, but if you are local to the Portland area and interested in my yarns, I will be vending at the Rose City Yarn Crawl on Sunday, February 27th, at Starlight Knitting Society. So there's going to be a bunch of other vendors, a lot of exclusive trunk shows at the store. So if you're around and interested, I hope I'll see you there. And other than that, I think that's what's up for this episode. Thank you so much, as always, for hanging out with me. I really hope you enjoyed spending some time with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!